each other, and I think that's what got us over that hump, by just pushing each other and knowing the type of team we could be.
I feel like we've done some good things the last few weeks, but I do feel like we have a lot of work up ahead to get to where we really want to go.
But we know how difficult it is to win in this league, no matter who you're playing, no matter what the record is, and you really have to be prepared and ready for every single week.
Brought to you by Miller Lite and Luther Auto. And now, to kick off your NFL weekend, this is Vikings Live.
Well, things have taken quite a turn for the Vikings, going from 1-5 to, oh my, 3 wins in a row, all against NFC North opponents. And tonight we look at what's to come against the Cowboys right here on Vikings Live. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us along with Ron Johnson and Ben Lieber. I'm Hobie Artigue. Don Mitchell and Paul Allen, they'll join us in just a bit. But, guys, the Vikings have now won 3 straight, only 1 game from being 500. And you have to think that if the Vikings are going to make a serious playoff run, that's going to have to continue in the next 3 quote-unquote winnable games, and that begins with the Cowboys on Sunday.
Yeah, it really does, and I like the approach when you talk to all the players and the players speak and the coaches speak. You know, they're saying a lot of the same thing and the same message about how it's just 1 game at a time. And I know that's the thing that every player says, but I really think that these guys truly mean it. They really are approaching every game as like the only thing that matters. And so if they can take this high that they're on, this momentum they're on, and just focus it on this next game at 3 p.m. on Sunday, they're going to come out with a victory.
Yeah, when you look at the Cowboys team, you have to be salivating when you're looking at their defense. And so I think that's another positive. The Vikings can score. Dallas has struggled. We don't know what quarterback you're going to get. If it is Andy Dalton, a quarterback being out that long, the game is going to move extremely fast. And it's a good sign seeing what Zimmer did against the Bears with some of the changes, some of the coverage changes in the fronts, and being able to mug the A-gap. That should give the Dallas Cowboys trouble. And then they're home, too, so they don't have to travel. So I think that's all signs are pointing towards the Vikings. And then you look at that stretch. Yeah, you don't want to look ahead, but you can look at that stretch because that's our job. And say all these matchups going down the road are favorable.
Well, since the bye week, it's been a big difference for this team and also for Kirk Cousins individually. His average passer rating is pretty much gone through the roof. The first 6 games, he was hovering around 90, but the last 3, that's gone up to 124.7. Just a complete night and day difference for him as a quarterback. The run game, yes, it has helped him out, guys, but what is different about his approach, in your opinion, through these last 3 games?
Well, I think the biggest, he's taking what the defense gives him, and then the Falcons game, they had a predetermined first play. Like, hey, this is what we want to do in the first play. I think now the first play is just go out and play. So Kirk Cousins not trying to be perfect. You notice he's actually making some throws that normally he might not make, like this fade right here to Adam Thielen. Normally he would try to be so perfect the ball goes out of bounds. Now he's giving 50-50 balls a chance. But then honestly, guys like Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen are just making plays for Kirk, which gives him a ton of confidence.
Yeah, and I don't think that he is learning that he doesn't have to put the ball down the field 20 to 25 yards in the air for those guys to make plays. I think it's finally getting through to him that, yes, trust the run game, but when it comes to the passing game, it's all about the small wins. And you hear this narrative about hit the singles and doubles. Don't worry about the home runs. The guys, when they get the ball in their hands, they'll take those singles and doubles and turn those into home runs. So he's starting to trust that process, and you can see that confidence growing with him, that when they get in the second half, that's when they take their shots. When the defense is worn down from the run game, then they go over the top.
And we've seen Justin Jefferson, I guess you could call it, been inside the park home runs this year with the way he's running after the catch this year. But by his standards, Dalvin Cook, looking at his game against Chicago, he was kind of held in check by the Bears. The Cowboys' run defense, though, they're one of the worst in the NFL in yards per game and yards per carry. Ben, I think the expectation is that the Vikings are going to be going back to the ground starting right away on Sunday.
Yeah, and Dalvin's been saying it all week. He's like, I'm ready to go. You know, they're on a short week. They played Monday night, and they get 1 less day to recover. And he's saying, I feel great. I got a ton of carries the other night, but my body feels good, and that's a good thing. So I think they are going to continue to lean on him. He's showing this organization after getting that big contract that, yes, you can put the weight of this offense on my shoulders, and it's not going to be too big for me. So, yeah, they're going to have to attack the run game. Do what you do. You know, that's the thing. Don't worry about outsmarting these teams. We are talented enough to line up, even if they know our plays, to beat these guys at the line of scrimmage and eventually wear these guys down.
And the wide receiver, Ron, first of all, the wide receivers, they've benefited from Cook running too. It's kind of really pick your poison right now. with Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. Jefferson, he's averaging 18 yards a catch. That's 4th in the NFL, while Thielen is tied for the NFL lead with 12 touchdown catches this year. Ron, I have to ask you, with the way those two are playing right now, do you think that we'll see more of a shift to kind of a balanced offense, if you could call it that, in the coming weeks?
No, I think when you look at balance, it's going to be a balance of just what plays or who gets the ball. I don't think it's so much of it has to be a run versus pass. You're going to see some jet sweeps. You're going to see some receiver screens. I think, the hitch is also really a screen. A quick throw is a screen. And so things like that to get the ball in those guys' hands, I don't think you'll see a shift. Why? Because like Madden, if you can run the ball 50 times, run the ball 50 times. I mean, Dallas is going to blink at some point because when you look at these safeties, they're going to want to get nosy in the box. They know we can't let Dalvin Cook get going. So, yeah, that's when you take your shots. But if Kirk throws the ball 14 times and they win, I think the team's happy.
Defense, you, of course, a linebacker. They held the Bears to 32 yards in the second half. Yes, the Bears are struggling, but from your vantage point, what's the magic that Mike Zimmer's been able to work in your opinion?
Finally layering this defense. I think when you came out of the bye week and you played the Green Bay Packers, it was a very simplified approach, and you had to do that because of injuries in the back end with the secondary. So simplify the approach, make these guys play faster. Now that we've had a few weeks to build up the confidence, they're layering up their defense now, and now they're blitzing from depth, and that's confusing the offensive linemen. It's messing up their counts, and you're getting a lot of free rushers. So this simplified defense is getting a little bit more complex, but along with that, the confidence is growing.
Well, the Vikings might be run first when it comes to offense, but the passing game, that's up and running too, right now led by a player who you could say is the front runner for Rookie of the Year. Dawn Mitchell joins us now with more on Justin Jefferson. And Dawn, his success in 2020 just seems to build and build and build.
It's been fun to watch, hasn't it, right? Justin Jefferson is playing well beyond his years and has become a threat that defenses now have to account for, which makes the Vikings offense, as we know, even more dangerous. But Jefferson is enjoying what his hard work has produced so far.
Well, I mean, it means a lot to be drafted 5th off the board and pretty much being the top rookie receiver right now. It means a lot.
It means a lot to the Vikings as well. Another huge threat for opposing defenses to account for. But perhaps what other teams can't measure is just how fast he's not only improving and grasping concepts, but implementing them. For example, when it comes to yards after a catch, offensive coordinator Gary Kubiak says the rookie has a plan.
That's very important in this league because it's hard enough to get open. And if you're a threat with the ball in your hands after you catch it, that makes you even a better player. So I think he'll continue to grow in that phase of his game because it's definitely a strength.
I was watching the tape from Green Bay, my first game this year, and then watching these past few games, I look totally different. Just the confidence, the swagger that I have now. When you're going out there making plays, especially in the NFL on top guys, you start to get that confidence.
He's going out and doing it. You know what I mean? He's not scared of anything right now. He's attacking it. He's coming up big for us on some third downs and things like that. It's good to see him kind of find that confidence this early and, keep it going.
Confidence and swagger beyond his years. Richard Sherman even said he's playing like a 5 or 6 year vet. 7th in the league with 762 receiving yards, a catch percentage of just under 78, and he's averaging just over 18 yards per catch. Incredible. Jefferson is enjoying not only living up to expectations, but surpassing them.
It means a lot, and that's exactly what I said I was planning to do before the season started and when I was drafted. So I'm just trying to back up my words and keep going out there and just playing my best ball.
Oh, he's only just scratching the surface of what he can do, and perhaps the best intangible is his humility. He's willing to learn, willing to work hard, and that means the sky is the limit. Hobie.
All right, Dawn, well, it's been a great start for Justin Jefferson. However, the polar opposite start for the Cowboys this season. Dak Prescott injured. Zeke's had his worst year as a pro. They're 2-7. But they still have a chance to make the playoffs with how the NFC East is shaping up. Ron, your overall thoughts on Dallas coming out of this bye week?
Well, they're in the dumpster fire with the rest of the NFC East. I don't think they deserve a shot at the playoffs, but hey, it's the way it's drawn up. But yeah, that's my thoughts. I mean, they're just giving the ball up. You got interceptions. You got fumbles. 12 fumbles. That's ridiculous. And then the defense can't get enough turnovers to, counteract the turnovers their offense is giving away. So it's just it's a microcosm of what's been. They give it up, and they can't do anything.
Well, you look at this team, I think coming out of the bye, they competed hard. They're trying to play fast. But you just look at the totality of their team, and without Dak and the way that their running game is right now, there's just no explosive plays. So they're having to get into this grinded out fashion. And I don't think that's what McCarthy wants to do. That's not what they really want to do with their receivers on the outside. They want to get down the field a little bit more. So I think you can see their identity be a little frustrating to them. And then defensively, they've had some injuries, especially at the linebacker position. And now you've got Diggs' brother, Trayvon Diggs, is going to be out. He's on IR. So a lot of just missing pieces to this defense and no continuity. So we're getting these guys at a good time.
All right, let's look at the Cowboys on tape a little bit. And, Ron, you mentioned Andy Dalton. He's expected to be under center on Sunday. But receiver-wise, he also has some talent to work with, my friend.
Yeah, and what you see is they're just taking the best matchup. This first player is going to be a 3-by-2, so they're going to look at the 3-receiver side. And all it is a slot fade. The receiver attacks his leverage, and then he just has a ton of space. Quarterback makes a good throw, and that's all it is. Second play, same thing. They're using the motion to dictate man coverage. They know it's man now, so same thing. The flat defender gets caught peeking in the back, and he just doesn't carry the wheel. And that's just a good throw by the quarterback as well, and then the receiver takes the top safety off the board.
And, Ben, whenever you look at this defense, the Cowboys, they have a lot of size and speed on the defensive line. The Vikings O-line, they didn't play particularly great in Chicago, and they could have their hands full once again against Dallas.
Well, size and speed, and I think the most important thing is quickness. They have some quickness, and those guys can really get off the ball. We'll take a look at the inside here with Neville Gallimore and DeMarcus Lawrence. Just see how fast they get off the ball. And Gallimore is so quick with this first step, and you see that lower body strength. Again, see how quick they are, the disengage, and he absolutely just trucks the center there to get to the quarterback. So you're going to have to deal with this rookie from Oklahoma by way of Canada, and he's still learning his way. And I think that's a scary thing is every game that he plays, every snap that he gets, he's just going to get better and better.
Well, we still have much more to come tonight on Vikings Live, including this week's Player Spotlight. It's Harrison Smith this week to chat about his big game against the Bears. Paul Allen catches up with the Vikings safety when we return here on Vikings Live.
Brought to you by Miller Lite and Luther Auto.
His nickname is Harry the Hitman, and Harrison Smith's game against the Bears, well, it could go in his greatest hits for games in purple. Ironically, for everything but hitting. For more with the Vikings safety, Paul Allen has you covered in this week's Player Spotlight.
Indeed, Hobie Artigue. He is Harrison Smith, the Miller Lite Player Spotlight. 9-year member of the Minnesota Vikings, safety and veteran leader of a suddenly surging defense. Harrison Smith, that Chicago game for you, in my opinion, was so 2020. Might have been the best game you've played all year. You ended with 0 tackles. I mean, that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever played in a game with 0 tackles without like getting hurt or something. Yeah, and it seemed like, it seemed kind of action-packed, and I didn't really notice until at the end. Somebody told me that, and I was like, that's kind of weird. But hey, a win's a win, so I'll take it however we can get it.
Yes, sir. And there have been 3 consecutive, hopefully 4 this weekend against Dallas. As a veteran leader at age 31, do the kids back there in the meeting rooms, do they call you Pops, Gramps? Like, what's the nickname?
No, I don't know if I'm like quite old enough for the Pops. Terrence Newman had the Pops nickname, but he was, he had a bunch of years on me. So I definitely feel a little older when I don't understand like the musicians they're talking about or whatever's cool right now. So I try to stay up on it through them. So they're keeping me young, keeping me on my toes.
Now, with the nickname, long-standing nickname, Harry the Hitman, are you still Harry the Hitman, or are you now Harry the Pickman because of all these interceptions?
I like Hitman. They've definitely taken away some of the hits that are available, as we've seen this year, being removed from a ball game. But I still like that one. You nailed that one right off the bat. So that one's got to stay.
Well, you're always Hitman in the heart, for sure. But the reason I did ask is kind of what you just said is, like, when you're in a game and you're going full speed, you don't want to be thinking. So do you, like, before you lay a Hitman hit, do you have to think about how to do it? Because that ain't no good.
Sometimes. It depends on the scenario. If there's time to think about it, you can normally try to adjust and make it the way they want it. But then, you have to try. You have to think about it in your off time when you're watching other people play. You have to think, what could they have done better there, or what did they do well? So I try to learn from all the guys I watch around the league, and a lot of guys do a great job.
With the Vikings defense, Harrison, what changed out of the bye? I mean, 18 points per game the last 3. That's really good.
I think it's hard to come into the league and in a season like this, no OTAs, no off season. It's the same for everybody. But when you have a bunch of new guys on a team, you play a bunch of good quarterbacks, a bunch of good players. It takes a little while to find a groove, and it's not like we're great or anything, but we're getting better, and we're trending in the right direction. So we just got to keep that momentum going.
Harrison, that TCU rookie Jeff Gladney, 4 tackles for loss. What do you like about him?
I think since like he walked in the door, he was very hungry and very eager. Not just to go and make plays. He's very eager to do that, but like to learn the game and to learn why we're doing things and why his leverage is one way or another. And he loved knowing why I was, down by the line of scrimmage or running deep and stuff like that. So he just loves football and he loves competing. And it's pretty obvious when you meet the guy.
Harrison, lastly, with the Miller Lite Player Spotlight, we are coming up on 5 years since your last pick 6, Harry the Pickman. I mean, do you ever think about that?
Yeah, I was actually upset about this last one because I bobbled it, so it kind of took away from the return. So yeah, I think about that often. It's been too long. It's been way too long. I gotta do something about that.
Let's take that karmic convergence and fix it this weekend. You're one of my favorites, man. I appreciate you. Good luck. All right.
Thanks, PA.
Hobie, that is Harry the Pick. I mean, Harry the Hitman.
And you heard PA say it in the interview. Harrison Smith finished that game against the Bears with 0 tackles, and that is extremely rare. In his 129 games played, that's including the playoffs, that's happened only one other time, and that was against the St. Louis Rams back in 2015. Ron, Ben, Harrison Smith's really been a quarterback to this secondary for a very long time, but with so many new faces, Ben, what's made him so exceptionally good this year?
Well, I just think his leadership, he's had to take on this role. When the team lost Everson Griffin, I think we all asked ourselves, who's going to be the emotional leader of this team? And you start to look from front to back, and you're like, well, these guys are really good, but most of these guys are pretty quiet. And we were all hoping that a guy like Harrison Smith, being the oldest pretty much guy on the defense, that he would step up and be that guy. And we're starting to see him vocalize a little bit more. And I think that's just elevating his play, because now he's really got to prove that he is that leader all the time, every snap. And so I just love what we're seeing. I love the intensity that we're seeing that he plays with.
Yeah, for me as a receiver, when I watch him like that play there, breaking it up, putting his fist on the ball, you expect to get hit. You don't expect a DB oftentimes to actually play the ball the right way, and he does that. So that's what's frustrating and why he's so good. But as a receiver, you hate stuff like that because you want them to just hit you in the body, leave your hands alone so you can make the catch. And I think that's what's making him good. His ball skills are some of the best I've seen.
All right, so much more to come here on Vikings Live. We give you our Vikings keys to victory and take a look at Thursday Night Football. That's next here on Vikings Live.
Live. Brought to you by Miller Lite and Luther Auto.
Well, the Vikings try to make it 4 in a row on Sunday, trying to rope up a win against the Cowboys. And for his final take, we now toss it to Paul Allen in his Words Eye View.
Words Eye View. You know, it's a routine weekly on Vikings Live at this spot each and every Thursday. And winning is habitual. It's become routine for the Minnesota Vikings, victorious 3 consecutive times. So here come the Dallas Cowboys, self-proclaimed America's team, a team that has not scored a road touchdown in nearly 2 months since a game at Seattle, a team that has the last-ranked defense in the National Football League, and a team facing a suddenly surging Minnesota Vikings squad looking to make routine winning, and it would be 4 in a row. That's the words I view.
And that's it. Time now for our keys to victory, though. Ron, starting with you. How did the Vikings get their 4th straight win on Sunday afternoon against a Cowboys team that is struggling right now?
Well, I know it sounds cliche, but when you look at the turnovers, -13 and -3, so you have to win the turnover battle. The Cowboys put the ball on the ground, so for the DBs, they're going to want to do the peanut punch. I know the Chicago thing, but if you punch the ball, Zeke will give it up. And so that's what they're going to have to keep their eye on, and every chance they get, fall on it.
Yeah, and for me, it's going to be about starting fast for the Vikings, getting points on the board early, making this Andy Dalton-led offense one-dimensional. Yes, they're going to want to pound the rock with Zeke. They don't want to put all the pressure on Dalton. But if you can get out to a nice, comfortable lead in the first half and then just make them one-dimensional, I think our defense, the way they're playing right now, they will confuse this offense. And let's be honest, this team will probably shut it down once it sees a lot of adversity.
Well, it's Thursday Night Football tonight, and you can play along on the Fox Bet Super 6 app. Answer 6 questions about tonight's game, and you could win $25,000 playing the TNF Challenge. That QR code will take you straight to the app. Fox Bet Super 6 was developed by a division of Flutter Entertainment in partnership with Fox Sports, a unit of Fox Corporation. And guys, a great one on deck for Thursday Night Football. The Cardinals at the Seahawks. Whoever wins this one takes the outright lead in the NFC West for now. Ron, Ben, who you got?
Well, I'm tired of picking the Seahawks because they let me down. So I'm picking the Cardinals because I'm just picking the Cardinals. I'm just tired of picking the Seahawks now.
Well, listen, the Arizona Cardinals, obviously we know about their win last week against the Bills. They've won 5 of the last 6 games in Seattle. So going to that place is not a big deal for them. And Tyler Lockett's got a little bit of a banged up knee, so he may not be a 100%. He probably will play. But really terrible, obviously, pass defense for the Seattle Seahawks. I'm taking Arizona as well.
I'm going to take Arizona as well. Ron, similar sentiment to you because, you know what, I picked Russell Wilson to get back on track last week, and that did not happen. However, I think the lack of a running game is really, really hurting Russell Wilson right now. Chris Carson, Travis Homer, both of those guys are out tonight. Seattle's still banged up in the running game. So I'm going to go with the Cardinals, too, even though Seattle is favored by 3 points tonight. Ron, sure? We're going to go with
I'm just
Cardinals
laughing
sweep?
at the DB for the Bills. Like, the way he flew in there, he had no shot at knocking that ball down. Like, that is the worst defensive back opportunity. Like, oh, my God.
Hopefully the Vikings DBs are a little bit better on Sunday. That'll do it for us here on Vikings Live as we get you ready for the Vikings and Cowboys, a game that you can watch right here on Fox 9 on Sunday at 3:25. For Ron, for Ben, for Paul Allen, for Don Mitchell, I'm Hobie Artigue. We'll see you next Thursday. Coming up after this, Thursday Night Football, Cardinals and Seahawks.
Presented by Miller Lite, official beer sponsor.